Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. Today is Thursday. I promised that Honorable Kehinde Bangbeton will be here, and he is here. Kehinde Bangbeton is the chairman of the media team in Lagos. Is that right?
Yeah, this is what we call it the APC Presidential Campaign Council, media and publicity team for Lagos State.
Lagos State.
We have 36 of them like that across the country.
Okay, but you are under the umbrella of the national body.
Of the national body.
Okay. All right. Now I need to say one or two things about Kehinde. Kehinde used to be the chief press secretary to Asiwaju, and he was also commissioner for information under Governor Ambode. By the way, where is Governor Ambode these days?
He's fine.
Is he in contact with you?
He's in the party.
He's in the party. We haven't heard anything from him.
Well, maybe he actually has one of the roles to play in Southwest. He's in charge of Southwest youth.
Oh, really?
So he's working with them.
Can we get him here?
I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure.
I'd like to see him.
I want to come and talk. But he leaves a very low profile.
Extremely low profile. We actually thought that maybe he was out of the party or something.
No, he is in the party.
Okay. Full declaration here. Kehinde is a brother to me. We've lived together, and he's one of my bros in whom I'm well pleased. I want to declare that. and I'm always proud of him.
Thank you very much.
And the beauty of the relationship between Kehinde and I is that even though we disagree on things politically sometimes, it hasn't affected our personal relationship. And I believe that's the way it should be. So we are civil to each other. We have an argument. He has a fair idea of my position on his project. But I said that wouldn't stop me from having him here. And in any case, besides Kehinde, I can have a very good discussion with, disagree with or whatever, and still at least understand one or 2 points. And that's why I'm bringing him here. So you're welcome again. Yes, you've met this gentleman here. This is my Oga.
Thank you.
He's one of
Thanks for
nice to meet you, sir. Have you met the ancestor? Have you met him?
I don't know.
That's the ancestor.
He gave me my first job as a journalist.
Oh, wow.
What year was that now?
That was 1988.
Huh. And we've been together since then.
Oh, wow.
Politics today.
Politics today, yes. Those are times I don't want to remember.
So we are still discussing politics today.
Yes, politics today. Okay, Kehinde, I mean, the one thing I will not bother ourselves with, because if anything is being flogged and we have one are questions that are personal to the candidates. I believe one of these days, if we can drag him to the office, to the studio, he'll be able to explain himself. That has to do with his background. But I can ask a bit about his health, though. First question is, do you actually feel that this gentleman is healthy enough to carry this torch that he's carrying?
What do you mean? Sometimes we're still surprised that he comes up again and again, because some of those fears have already been allayed by the public performance. He's moving from one place to the other, from Kano to Kwara to Adamawa, and he comes on the stage. He articulates himself energetically.
You are the one who used the word article.
Energetically, he speaks. Also, I think anyone who had those ideas in the past would have, by now, should have seen that this man is hale and hearty to go through this punishing schedule. That shows that he must be healthy to climb up the road. Talk to different groups. He was recently at the Nigerian the Climate Summit group. He explained his position very, very clearly. He took questions very clearly. So the point basically is that he's healthy, and we can assure you that he is very healthy.
So some of us are a bit worried about the slips here and there, and we believe that they're becoming one too many. Could it be exhaustion from the campaign? What exactly do you think is responsible for that?
A campaign could be very, very terrible pressure cooker sometimes. And of course, you are moving. There are meetings going on almost 24 hours. You are meeting this group. You are negotiating with this group. At the same time, you are going to get to the rostrum. it can be very punishing schedule for anyone at any age. And it will also have an effect sometimes because you have to go through speeches, and sometimes maybe while you're in the vehicle, that's when you are going through those speeches, trying to get a hang of it, and then you have to go and articulate and explain, disseminate those things are out there. So in that process of the communication, you will have slips. The most important thing is whether the message is taken by the audience or not. And I think in most of these cases, if you leave out the slips, the messages are very, very clear. He wants a better country. He thinks that he can do it. He's done something in Lagos, and he thinks that with the experience he has learned in Lagos, he can scale it up and do something better at the national level. Those messages are always there, and they're trending and they're resonating. And I think a lot of people are beginning to see that it makes a lot of sense to vote him.
Well, you there's this controversial thing you mentioned just now, and that's about what he did in Lagos. Luckily, you are his chief press secretary at that time.
Yes.
Could you put in perspective what you will consider? Let's just take about 5 or 6 things that he did when he was governor in Lagos.
Well, let's just take one.
Yes.
The security of Lagos was very bad when he came on.
Okay.
And we had the relaunch of the RRS, and turned them into the
During
new
his
team.
tenure.
During his tenure. I got the Nigerian police to recognize the fact that Lagos had a peculiar problem, and then ensure that policemen serving in that special team, would be around for a longer period. They will not be posted anyhow. He gave them more allowances. He gave them vehicles to work with. So you could see across Lagos State, at various points, you began to see the vehicles of RRS giving people confidence that they could move at any point in time. And then had this. Then secondly was the issue of ambulance services. People now realize that at major points, you now began to have ambulance services, which was to ensure that there were emergency services for everyone. That's just one area. The other area is in terms of the economic viability of the state itself. And here, it started with revenue generation. Was able to develop a system that made sure that the revenue that had been, efforts had been made in the past from Marwa, who brought Nadikonla to try and raise the revenue. But when he came on board using his own financial background, he was able to grow that revenue from 600 million to 5 billion by the time he was leaving office. And today it's even higher than that. Now, it now also looked at how do you now project the state. He developed a development plan, a 20-year development plan that sought to how, looking at various pillars to drive Lagos State's development. We look at transportation. Transportation came up with the idea of a BRT so that more people will use the public or transportation and leave their vehicles so that the roads are not clogged and you and I can get home or wherever we want to go at a shorter period. That has helped a lot. It moved into that. The idea of having a free trade zone in Lagos, became one of the projects. We had to go to China to see how it was done in China, and then we came here and then we started free trade zone thing. Today, there about 70 foreign companies are in that environment, and is it one of the major highlights of that experience is the Dangote refinery, which is going to be commissioned this week, very soon, on 24th of this month. So that's another area of providing employment. Then it looked into government and saw that in terms of federalism, the state had been choked by military presence. Even you could not even use the place under the bridges because you had to go to the Ministry of Works at federal level to get permission to even use place under the bridges. We went to court. On 13 cases, we went to court. In Lagos, we went to court and said, look, number plate production belongs to the state according to the law. Give it to us. We took number plate production and we started producing number plates for Lagos State. We went in terms of the houses that the federal government took land for to build, and when they wanted to start selling these houses to private persons, we went to court and said, no, you took these houses, you took this land based on the fact that you wanted to use for public purposes. You cannot use them for private purposes. You cannot sell them. They had to revert to Lagos State. A lot of houses were brought back into Lagos State through that way. He created LASMA, which is an agency to recognizing the fact that Lagos State, within the law, had power over traffic management and he was able to create Last Man. Last Man provided jobs for a lot of unemployed graduates. It is still doing so even as we speak. The last segment was 1,000 of them.
But in all these that you have said, these would be part of day-to-day governance. They don't sound spectacular to me compared to, say, somebody like Alhaji Jakonde. If you look at what Jakonde did in 4 years, the water works, the university, the school system, that impact. The reason why I bring this up is there's this comparison, Of course, politicians always like things in glowing colors, that he made Lagos and so on and so forth. But where would we put Jakonde?
Now,
Do you agree?
Let me say one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. As I times we came to government,
yes,
5 major communities in Lagos State did not have general hospitals.
Did not have
general hospitals.
Okay.
Mushin didn't have. He provided for Mushin, for example.
Okay.
What do you call it? Shomolu didn't have. He provided for Shomolu, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And Limosho did not have. So what I'm saying that development is continuous, and it will interest you. Baba Jakonde himself took his son Deji Jakonde and gave it to Ashwaji to go and train the boy. The Jakonde later on became the member of House of Reps with the support of Ashwaji Bola Tinubu. So if Jakonde could see the brilliance in the man, the young man at that time, the young governor at that time, and put his own son to go and understudy him, that meant that he himself recognized the fact that this guy had to use.
Don't you think that was politics? Jakonde himself could train his own son.
But the point is that the politics at that time, politics of governance at that time had changed. Jakonde had become like a senior elder statesman, and I knew that the man on the seat right now who knew what could be done, how you could build or groom a person who wants to run government, and he was to put his own son there. So that's an endorsement. That's a very powerful endorsement, and nobody can run away from. That Jakonde, throughout his tenure, throughout his life, supported Ashwaju.
When he gave his son to Ashwaju, did his son get a political position?
Yes, he became a member of House of Representatives.
So I rest my case now. We know where that was coming from.
Basically, there's an endorsement. If Baba Jakonde could have so much trust in you as to endorse
I'm very skeptical about political moves.
Yeah, but
I know the way that works. Give your son to him and show an open path for him to whatever.
That's just so that he has confidence.
Okay.
So it's a continuity thing.
I know. The problem with the program like this is we have just less than an hour. Okay. And one will try to race through so many things as much as possible. So I crave your indulgence. If I can't narrow down on certain things, it's just because I want to grab as much as I can grab from this gentleman. As much as I can. This morning, I was very critical of the media organization. And that is to say that, look, the media organization of your party, the central body, have started this campaign against Atiku, talking of corruption. And I said that, and you know that perception is not too far from the truth, meaning that perception for A could be the truth for B. And this is what I said this morning. I said it behind you, and I now say it now. When it comes to perception, there's not much difference between your candidate and Atiku when it comes to things like this. Whether they are true or not is another issue. And that I thought it was a bit tactless for the APC media campaign organization, rather than focus on what the man can do, to start throwing brickbats between themselves and the Atiku campaign over an issue that crosses the two. And the irony is that the video that I saw, the person who was talking in that video himself is under trial. I felt it was wrong. Nobody sent me, but I felt I needed to advise your campaign organization that I think it's time you focused on because in all the things that we've heard, it's very difficult for you to bring out certainly 1, 2, 3 solid things that the man is going to offer. It's always been about him. It's always been about being defensive and answering questions. There was a fight between yourselves and Arise. There was a fight between yourself and Atiku, and so on and so forth. And I felt that your media campaign can do with a better strategy. Do you agree to that?
The campaign has both offensive and defensive elements. The defensive element is to defend the legacy and the manifesto of the candidate. The offensive element is to go into the other territory and reduce the public trust, the public confidence in that candidate, so that that's basically the template. Now, in doing that, how you go about it matters a lot. But what I want to tell you basically is that the messages that Ashwaju is putting out there, the messages are very, very clear. Basically,
himself or the media organization.
What we are saying is the messages of Ashwaju in terms of the economy, for example, is that he will rely more on fiscal measures rather than monetary measures. And in engaging the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, he laid out basically, he used that issue of subsidy, for example, that he will not continue, the government will not continue with the petroleum subsidy. Like it's going to cut it.
Okay.
The government will rely more on fiscal measures to control inflation and to run government than monetary measures. And then he made the very point that agriculture is going to be very key to the sustenance of the government in terms of ensuring that there's more productivity and that we produce what we eat. There's going to be reduction in imports, and to ensure basically that as far as youths are concerned, companies that employ youths will get special subsidies, special reliefs for engaging youths. They're basically to encourage as many companies as possible to employ our youths. So there's an 80-page manifesto that we have put out that explains all areas of life that we're not.
But what about response to my question on taking on article in that manner when at the end, because if care is not taken, the perception out there is that they're like Siamese twins. They're friends anyway, and that you gentlemen might wipe yourselves out and you might jolly well be working for Peter Obi.
Well, the point is,
don't mind working.
Every engagement has a SWOT analysis to go with it. Must have its strengths, must have its weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. And this strategy certainly has part of those things. But the idea basically is not to encourage a culture of silence on that angle. It was like the press was getting too mute, and it was important to raise it.
Too mute about what?
Too mute about the disclosures of the guy who came forward to express the fact that he had.
But the irony is that your candidate too has been mute. He hasn't answered so many questions. That's for the other side
to say. We have seen our own. Our own basically is to put the other guy on the spot. And his job is to put us on the spot. That's how it works. So we will do our own part of the work and say, look, this man, somebody has come up to say, this man's given a clear instruction to go and set up an SPV to divert public funds into private pockets. Now, let us engage him. Let the public know that. So they can say the same thing about us. We will try and defend ourselves. But basically, you don't allow that to run. No candidates in any party will allow that kind of thing to go, unexploited. I mean, that would be carelessness.
Maybe I tried to run away from a lot of the questions about the candidates because I believe in reality he should be the one answering these questions. Questions about school and all these things. These are personal to him, but aren't you a bit worried about the fact that we don't have a clear image of the president you want us to elect? Well, why has that been so difficult in terms of schools attended and this and that? Since you were the days of the press secretary, you've been facing that. Why is it so difficult? What's the problem?
Well, I mean, the point basically is to understand that in the process of development,
it
does not take a straight line. Development does not take a straight line. Your experience and my experience are not the same. How we get to where we got to, they're not the same. I might have been born by. I'll give an example. When Awolowo started free education, there was a threat that if you didn't put your child in school by January 1955, you would go to jail.
Yes.
So many people actually ran into the bush with their kids because they didn't want to be jailed, and they didn't want, and they gave back to those kids because they felt it should help them on the farms. So children like that missed that opportunity to be educated. And then you had a lot of correspondence colleges where you could learn and get adult education.
Is that what happened to him?
What I'm just saying basically is that.
How old would they have been in 55?
The point I'm making is that you don't put this thing on the straight line. People have their own different experiences. And you have said that you want him to say it himself. So maybe when you invite him, you might want to say all those things. But what I'm just basically is that let us not
But
assume.
does it bother you? Does it make your job easier or difficult?
Well, I served this man as chief press secretary in Lagos State. I saw him deliver democratic dividends to the people of Lagos State. That mattered to me much more than any other thing. That
yes.
I can say that at some point, parents were requesting him to give them money so they could pay the wife fees of their children. And he woke up one day and said, for all these students in Lagos State secondary schools.
Okay.
Once they get to that level, Lagos State government will pay their wife fees.
Okay,
that's more important to me.
Okay, we need to take a short break. Okay, when we come back, I still have Honorable Wangweta here, so don't go away. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay. How are we going?
Liverpool are majestic. You can't coach against this.
City have to defend for 6 minutes. They do not want to attack this. Felon Mendy across into the penalty area, headed down by the Madrid players. Still Madrid hopping around City's penalty box. A chance could come for them. It's 1-1 on the night. It's 4-5 for Nabigaz. There it comes. Is it 2-2. Wow. They are back.
Incredible. One of the great nights as a radio football commentator, certainly. Was special. It was special. You could sense it. I literally could sense a potential comeback, and I wasn't surprised that it happened. But how I was still able to articulate my words after that goal came in, something magical. So one of those great nights.
Thanks, Alexander.
Liverpool are majestic. You can't coach against this. I'm a sucker for Trent. If he wasn't a Liverpool player, I would wear a jersey with Trent at the back. That was special. There was a free kick from about 38-40 yards against Chelsea, a team I somehow don't fancy. It was special, and I fell off the seat. It's a classic. I don't think any commentator has been able to do that.
Every day is a new experience for me here. And look, see how excited I was coming into this studio. It was like a kid in a candy shop. What I enjoy doing the most here, let me put it in my own words, is Dear Bumi, because it's relaxing, it's hilarious. And of course, I for the life of me, I would never miss doing programs with Sheriff in the morning. It's one of the best. That's what keeps me alive and going. I think the one that I would remember the most, believe you me, is one I did with Made Kuti, Femi's son. Every time I looked at, every time I think of the young guy, I feel so inspired because I'm always thinking of tomorrow. I'm youth driven. I'm not saying I'm a youth, but I'm youth driven. Oh, the best thing about being a radio show host is when people hold your hand in public, they pray for you, they send you messages and appreciate what you're doing. Because it's, apart from it being a big job, it's a sacrifice. If you want to do this job well, it is a big, big sacrifice. I'm not known to be a liar. I'm somebody who, and the reason why I don't lie about certain things is I don't want to be caught out. Okay, so if I overslept, you hear me on radio saying, sorry I came late, I overslept. I don't want anybody telling me that this is what happened. I'm very conscious of that. So I don't think I ever lied not to be on air. I'd have called ahead to say, because I'm a professional to the core, and you can ask those who work with me. If I can't make it, sometimes I'd call Sharif in the morning and say, Sharif, let me, I'm tired. If I'm tired, I'm tired, So I don't think I've been caught out as such. I can't remember any time.
You can trust always.
My people are hello. Now better levels are carrying land on automatic goza. Globe Festival of Joy promo.
This one the helele price galore.
from Glow. Stadium where bracket price them yet. Tanda gidigba for win. 20 brand new house. 24 Chacha new cars. 100 generators. 200 sewing machine. 1,000 rechargeable fan. And 1,000 upon 1,000 other price them day. Just dial star 611 hash to enter and win inside the Glow Festival of Joy promo. Buy up to 20,000 naira data. Your luck will shine to win brand new house. If you cost you recharge or loan data when cost from 500 naira go reach 10,000 naira every month, week or every day. New or Jaraka plus other fantabulous price them feel on your hand here. You still don't top bicycle they sleep. Make you dial star 611 hash now to enter and win. Terms and conditions there.
Unlimited. Everyone is at the table for lunch. Mom is bringing in the jollof rice, and then...
John!
Sorry, Mom.
Hello? Can I order some jollof rice to be delivered?
Mama saves the day. Lunch is here.
Mom, I got some Coke too.
Just come and eat, Joe.
Cook up memorable moments because family lunch and an ice cold Coke. Make a recipe for wonder. Coca-Cola. Real wonder.
Some people say tech is the new crude oil, and others say tech is in the future. With ALX, tech is here and here to stay. ALX is your career accelerator, built to give you in-demand global tech skills and access to a community that provides lifelong learning, lifelong networks. Register on www.alxafrica.com as the programs are fully funded for a limited period. Unlock possibilities with ALX.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. You're listening to Jimi Disu right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back to the Daily Digest, and I have Honorable Kende Bangbeton. Why do I keep adding this honorable in front of it? Because I have to be formal. Okay. You were supposed to go for House of Reps.
Yeah, we tried it.
You tried it?
Yes.
I was going to campaign for you. I told you. Yes, I was going to campaign for you. I believe in this guy. I must say that. I was going to campaign for you. Sorry?
If I say I want to campaign.
No, in your own case, somebody has said, somebody, I think it was Helen or so early in the morning, he said that we need to determine your sexual preference. It looks as if either you're in love with Sheriff or Sheriff is in love with you.
Is it two together?
Yes, it's two together. Okay, so at some point we're going to open up lines 0700 993 993 and 01465 7190. And when we do, let us, for God's sake, be civil. This is not a platform for campaigning, for or against. Just give your comments and then move on within the specified 1 minute. Let's obey the rules about gender. The phone for the ladies, please. All men, steer clear. Baba Kekere is here to. No, sorry. Kekere is here. We can't put Baba in front of us. There's only one Baba Kekere, so we'll be taking your calls. But there's something I always ask you that I want to ask you now. And that is, what kind of a man is Bola Tinubu? I've never met him. People won't know. By the way, are you one of those who believe that I hate the man?
Of course not. Of course not.
You should help me tell them that in the book that I wrote, the only book I've ever written, I have a whole chapter on him. But your supporters seem to think that I hate the man. How do you react to that?
Well, the job of an interrogator of public is to begin to subject everything to scrutiny.
To scrutiny, yes.
So in that process, I think everything comes under gauge. You really have to. So people to understand that if you are examining, you are doing it also on behalf of the public.
Yes.
You are asking the questions that many people want to know and want to ask. And to that extent, we believe that when we come here like this, we are able to shed light on some gray areas. I mean, I've worked with him, and I know that one thing about him is he's very, very humble.
What kind of a man is he? Because it's so difficult to understand him, because of the political aura. But generally, what kind of a person is he?
First is somebody who is very curious, very, very curious, acquires knowledge, and is very, very humble. He's a typical Yoruba person, has basic very, very grounded in native intelligence.
Yoruba's humble.
If somebody will be paying you and will be using hair for you, you do something for me and say, and you ask yourself, this man is paying me. Why is he being this, thankful for a job that he has paid for? He's that kind of person.
But has he changed over the years?
Well, the point is basically that he is the kind of person who likes to engage you, in discussion, in debate. Spend much of his time taking ideas from you, engaging you, trying to prove your mind. He thinks outside the box all the time. I mean, it's kind of who will say that, look, you guys have the point that we are, they say that if somebody has done something bad, you will now think people sorry because he was a child. He will now say no. He reverses many of our Yoruba proverbs. It's hard to modernize, how to think outside the box essentially.
How sensitive is he to the public perception of him vis-a-vis what is said about him in the social media? Well, in one video broadcast, I heard him say he doesn't relate to anything in social media, that he gets him angry. But how does he relate to criticism and so on?
Social media is quite a new phenomenon for people of his age. Generally. And so catching up with it has been basically an issue. But the point is that today he has understood this better. He now manages better than he ever did. If you say Prince, Prince is he's at home with Prince. But the younger people are the ones active on social media. But now, each one has seen that it's part of the reality of our experience. And every day you will read his tweets. He's on Facebook. He's on all the chapters, and he's letting people understand the fact that he's also a player in that field.
Talking about, let's have a professional discussion for about 5 minutes on this. What I'm beginning to see is, in the past, when we depended on the print media, elections and so on were brought more or less to the level of the elite. When I say the elite, not the rich, but the educated, because you read in print. The rest were like rumors and so on and so forth. However, with the advent of the social media, you find a larger number of people who don't even understand the issues in the first instance now popping up in the social media and trying to influence public thinking. Does that bother you?
Well, I think the social media has democratized the information system.
Is that good or bad?
We insist, to the extent that there's a fundamental right to express your opinion.
Yes.
Then this is good for the politics.
But collectively,
that everybody has a right to say what he has to say. Mm-hmm. But the point also is that in journalism we talk of informed commentary.
Yes.
That you are assumed to be informed before you comment on issues. I think that's where the gap is. Many people comment, but they are not informed.
They're not.
But so those are the dangers of social media. So our business is to encourage them to be informed before they speak, because right now it's like a marketplace. Everybody has the right to speak, and so we must always protect that fundamental right of the individual to express himself. That's very important to our own democracy. But then encouraging them to be more mature in using the tool of expression is also part of the job of journalists to try and
I hope people do realize that there's no way I'd be speaking to Kende and not go professional a bit. But let me give you free 5 minutes to convince me why you think Asiwaju should be the candidate. Well, let me see you try.
Well, one thing basically...
look at him sitting down. He has a prepared speech in his head. Yes.
Lagos today
has
been able to demonstrate Asiwaju's capacity to transform a community from what it used to be to what it is today. Basically, by looking at the problems and using those problems as leverage for development. And I'll take Babbage. That's everybody can remember Babbage. We know that for many years, the federal government will come every year to go and put rocks in the Babbage. And then those rocks will go, and then next year it will come. And it became like a regular line in the budget. And then they go say, look, we can do this matter. We can sort it out. Even after a lot of struggle. And then they brought in people to come and run it. And then today, that Babbage that was already nibbling into the whole Abandoned Bedo, where many liaison offices of states were already being sold or already been dilapidated, has now come out with what we call an Atlantic city, the Atlantic city. That is basically how an individual like Ashwaju has turned what would have been a problem into a solution.
And created another problem because all the other islands, in some of them, have virtually disappeared.
Well, perhaps so.
Push the water.
Perhaps so. But the most important thing basically is that we solved a major problem.
And created another one.
Right. The problems are moved. As one problem moves,
yes.
and you create a fresh solution, there are other users come around with it. So that's given. But what I'm just basically, so that is a template to look at how Ashwaju approaches life generally. Every problem is an opportunity to create a solution. Okay. And so when you look at what he has done in Lagos State in terms of responding to the needs of the people. I used to be chairman of the local government, and I know, for example, that when we came to government, one of the templates was that you needed to do a school or a health center in a ward. Lagos State, right from Ashwaju, had a very clear plan that for the 377 wards of Lagos State, there must be a school and a primary health care center. Now, across board now, I do not think there's a ward now in Lagos State that doesn't have a school and a primary care center.
Okay,
now, that just tells you how development happens in Lagos State. So, if he could apply himself to respond to the needs of a multi-ethnic microcosm like Lagos, and today, whether you were Igbo or Hausa, as far as you can demonstrate merit, an industry, an enterprise, you can survive and succeed and excel in Lagos. Creating that template means that it's easier to scale it up to the federal level.
Okay, I need our lines are buzzing here, Kende. You've run out your commercial.
Thank you.
Can I have my check, please? Okay, let's pick some of the calls here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Morning, sir. Who's calling?
My name is Dan Baba. I greet your best.
Hey, Dan Baba, how are you?
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, let's go quickly.
Uncle Jimmy, let me be honest with you. I've met people who is even a professional in this your business.
Yes.
When I discuss with them, they believe that you are a supporter of Tinubu.
They believe that?
They believe that you are a supporter of Tinubu.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. Then secondly, I want to ask your guest questions.
Is it an offense to be a supporter of a politician, even though I'm not? But I'm glad you said this, so it brings some balance into my life.
Yes. Uncle Jimmy, I want to ask your guest some questions about the Mr. Asiwaju, the candidate of APC.
Yes.
I hardly believe in a lot of things I see on social media. But I want to ask him, most of these mistakes that he made, all these things, I don't want to name them, to the extent that I saw one, I don't know if they did the video, when he leaked microphone. Is this thing true or not? That's the question I want to ask you.
Well, the point basically is that, we don't dwell on those irrelevancies. We do respect to you. If somebody has a message to give, he comes on the rostrum, he delivers that message. If in that process, you have a slip, it's just human. We understand the pressure on him at a time like that. So we understand that. But I'm just basically saying that those things are just normal human things, and they don't undermine or distract from the strength of the message that is putting out there, or his capacity to deliver on the job. So I just want to let you know that whether they're true or not, the most important thing for us is the bulk of the message has been delivered and the audience is responding to the messages.
Why do you think what do you think Dan Baba was thinking about when he said that it looks as if I'm a supporter of the man?
Well,
I'm asking you this as a professional. You know?
Well, I think it depends where he's coming from. Maybe he has a different expectation of what you should be saying.
Oh, I see.
And maybe today he's found that you are talking to a Tinubu devotee, and it thinks that maybe you've been quite very fair in dealing in managing the matter. So it depends on where it's coming from. But I think it's a very good compliment that at least shows that when people on both sides are saying the same thing about you.
Yeah, because one of your media people went on Twitter to say that I'm always abusing, how did she put it? I'm always abusing anything Buhari and Tinubu. And I just laughed at that silly remark, in all honesty. It even insulted me, but I believe that. Let's pick another call here. Hello, good morning. Hello, morning.
Jimmy.
Morning.
Yes, this is Alex.
Alex, how are you? Long time.
Yes, I'm fine, thanks. Yes, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Do I have also a minute to speak with your guest?
Yeah, go on.
All right. He's trying very desperately to just sweep some of these concerns that Dan Baba raised under the carpet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are just normal things. There's nothing normal about all the things that we have been saying about the way his principle goes around. And why is it so difficult? Why is it only the APC people that want to explain to us about Tinubu's education? Why is it so difficult? You asked him a simple question, and he was going about how some people ran into the forest during hours time. And why? I'm telling Nigerians that Nigerians have options. You don't have to stick with this one who makes blunders on every single step. You don't need to sell. Nigeria is in a very desperate place. We're in a bad place. We don't need to, these people who are selling, they must really hate Nigeria. These people who are selling a candidate who literally cannot even say he's left from his right. Why are you saying that he's normal? He's blunders everywhere. You're talking about, in one breath, he's talking about Nigeria, about the international electricity company he brought from the US. And in the same breath, he's talking about some sewing machines and wearing some clothes sewn by a tailor. Some ridiculous blunders like that. Why do we have to do this?
Okay, Alex, thank you very much. Would you like to respond to that?
Well, the point basically is, if you study people on campaigns over the years, I'm into political communications, and we do some of these things, we review them. When you see people, whether they're Biden, Obama, Trump, when they are going through campaigns, it's quite a very stressful thing to do, and it happens quite a lot that they either miss their words or and these are things that happen in the course of campaigns, not when they're calm and when they are relaxed. The campaigns, if you've been on a campaign trail before, you will know what I'm talking about. So we are not excusing it, and we're not dismissing it, but we're letting you to understand that this is upon the course of the prayer that you have on a campaign. I've been on campaigns as a student union leader. I contested. As a chairman, I've contested. I've been on campaigns, and I know that sometimes you miss your words. So and I'm saying that it's a function of the prayer or the moment in which you are. So that's number one. Number two, you spoke about educational background, and I made the point that I worked with him as the chief press secretary to the governor of Lagos State, and we have evidence of what he has done in 8 years. If those things are not convincing enough for you to take his word to the bank, I don't know what will be. Giving you his certificate will not do that, because certificates are not the same thing as your educational capacity. Somebody has done a stay for 8 years. You can see evidence of what he has done. You have the Dangote refinery. You have Jimi, all of them explaining how his government has assisted in building the economy of Lagos State. You have those facts and figures that you can deal with. So why must it be negative about it? Let's be very critical about it. Yeah. Has he done things? Can you touch those things that he has done? Has he built schools? Has he built hospitals? Has he been able to provide jobs for people? Those are the things that Nigerians want. They're not looking for somebody's credentials. That's it. And we call it a democracy. Go and look into the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What does it say? It says that even if you don't have any degree, you can run for election. Go and check the records. So don't let us make this an elitist game. It's not an elitist game. Anyone who did not even go to school, the Constitution allows him to run for election. So if that is the position of the Constitution, it's a democracy. Democracy is about human beings. As far as you are a Nigerian and you are of age and you pay your taxes, you have a responsibility to contest election and win or lose. That is the basis on which you should be assessed, not on all those elitist issues about whether you have a certificate or not. That's not the thing here. The point is, if he gets to the government, how will he be able to solve the problems of the average man? And he has come up with a manifesto. Why don't you deal with the manifesto? Why don't you relate to the manifesto? Why don't you try to get the manifesto instead of dealing with all these non-issues? And that's what we are saying, that we are not going to be bothered by all those non-issues. This man is alive, he's living, he's talking, he's speaking, he's everywhere. And you are still talking about, when you speak English, do you find this English grammatically wrong? So let's leave all those side issues aside and deal with core issues of what's happening to Nigeria. Somebody grows an economy, it grows the revenue of the state from 600 million to 5 billion. And you say, you should go and bring this certificate. Come on, please. Let's be very fair to each other.
Okay, we have.
I like you. Thank you very much, madam.
You like her?
Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, because just to say that, for speaking her mind,
that
it's a democracy. We would like to meet her.
You'd like to meet her?
Yes, I'd like to meet her. And perhaps you can take the conversation further than this.
That's all, nothing more.
Certainly, sir.
Okay. Okay, we have just about 6 minutes left. And let me use this opportunity to ask you. This idea of delegation, your party saying the style of the candidate is to delegate, where, for example, at Chatham House, you had to call on people to, answer questions and so on. What is the theory behind it? Is it that the campaign council is worried, like you said, that he's not an orator? There's nothing wrong in not being an orator, just like you said now. You don't need to be an orator to get the job done. But we just like to know what the philosophy is behind it.
Strategic communications involves quite a lot of tactics. And when you go as a candidate, you are not on your own. You are not an independent candidate. You are a party candidate. You are going there to explain the manifesto of your party. And you can use the occasion to show that you are not just a lone ranger. You are actually a team builder and a team worker. And it's only that kind of concept that can actually lead the country out of doldrums. So when you go to Chatham House, when you go to Chatham House and you say, look, let me change my pattern of responses, right? Let me show that I actually have people on board who can do this with me, that I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to use the brains of other people. And that was just a demonstration of it. It was a tactic, and I think it worked very well.
Okay, Kende, we might have to bring you in here one more time before the elections. But I got to knock it off here, and thank you very much for coming. In spite of the fact that you know that I'm not in support. Not that I don't like him as a man.
I understand
but
that.
for various reasons I don't think. But usually we respect each other's opinion and we've kept it intact. I'd like to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'd like to thank Oga Kekere here for providing support. Please, next time I come, can you switch off this? This, we have so many screens here. One of them is showing Big Brother, so I keep losing concept.
There's another one.
There's another one in front. And showing all the girls. That's just an aside to to ease the tension here. On Saturday we will be here for this. Tomorrow I'm going to review the sermon of Pastor Tunde Bakari. That controversial sermon. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
You watched it. In 1 minute, can you say something about it?
Democracy.
It's
the right of every person
to
express his mind.
Thankfully. Okay, that's good. That's good. So I'm going to review that tomorrow, and a lot of the input would be from you people out there to tell me what you feel about it. So I'll review it. I have a printed copy, so I'll review it properly tomorrow. Then on Saturday, I have Mr. Babatunde Daramola of the PDP. Okay, he's going to be here on Saturday. We'll just sit and exchange ideas and talk. Generally, my interviews are freestyle. They're not even interviews, really. They are discussions that I like to tickle my imagination and tickle that of the listeners. So, Kende, one more time, thank you very much. And congratulations on your daughter, my daughter.
Thank you very much, sir.
So you are now the father of a graduate.
Thank you.
You see how time flies? Look at those days we were running around. You remember my good old 505?
Yes, sir.
And I have you know that Kende and I were caught once during the Nadeco days. We were caught by the police with my boots full of materials. And the rest is history. But what my bank was emptied that day. It was a terrible day. We had all this June 12, whatever in there. So we've come a long way.
At Sonya.
At Sonya, yes. Yes. As soon as that man told us to park, and so they arrested him and kept him and told me to go to the bank. And they followed me to the bank. And I'm sure when Katie was sitting there, he'll be hoping that she could get Montisamo. Because they said they were taking us to Mustafa. If a whole general at that time could empty his bowels at his voice of, you can imagine little me. That's the story for another day. I'd like to thank you all for listening. Don't go away. What's Up Lagos comes up in just less than 1 minute. I'll see you tomorrow at 9.